What is going on, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now here on GrindersLive. Myself and Chop, the first hour and 15 minutes or so, we yield. We hand it off to Crunch Time. Crunch Time coming in around 6:15 on the East Coast, taking all the way up to 7 o'clock. Lock time for DraftKings and FanDuel contest. 10 games going down in the association, but we're not talking about the last 3. We're going to ignore Philadelphia, Portland, Golden State, Memphis, as well as OKC and the Lakers. Unfortunately, we cannot ignore the Kings or teams like the Jazz, although they just do not care to play basketball these days, or good basketball, or even decent or competent basketball. Chop, it's an hour and 15 minutes, 7-gamer. Got our eyes on some body parts as well. New injury report is coming on through. Well, I guess it should be dropping right now, 5 o'clock on the East Coast. Those in the chat, do hang out to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things. And also, get yourself a week free of RG Premium by telling me what movie is Movie Monday. Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. One guess per clue drop. We're dropping a clue now, right out the gate. Sure, why not? First clue, as you throw with the chop, is Hyde. Hyde is our first clue for Movie Monday. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. All the bells, all the whistles, all the sports, everything. With the exception of NASCAR, which I think starts next week. I'm not certain. Chop, how are things? Happy Monday.
What's up, Dean? You know, we was on the show Thursday. Dean, I gave you the Chop Super Bowl play of the year again. That's 9-2 for me in the last 11 Super Bowls. Dean came through pretty easily. So on cloud 9, Dean.
You had Seattle. Did you ladder Seattle? Did you have just Seattle minus 4.5?
I did set the 4.5, and I think there was one. I mean, I don't know why I blanked, but I only did one of them. I only did one site. I saw minus 6.5. I did not ladder anything above that. I didn't really find anything. I kind of forgot it, but with all the player props and everything going through, you kind of forget about that stuff. But I did mean to do that, and I didn't. But I got a little bit. I got enough. I had enough on Seattle that it was the player props. Man. Close, very close on every 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. Drake May being totally inadequate for the most part cost me my player props a lot. I had a lot of digs, receptions, and Hunter Henry yards, and they just couldn't get there because they were so bad for 3 quarters. But all in all, good Super Bowl, Dean. Really good. Seattle really,
Wasn't a good Super Bowl. Like, the first half was
I liked it.
It was a snooze.
No. Dean, no.
Got a little more
Pump the brakes.
The first half.
Just because there's not a lot of scoring doesn't mean it's a bad game. So when you watch that Seattle defense,
yeah,
man, they're good. They fly. They're good. They do all kinds of unorthodox things. And then I was caught off guard by how well New England defended in their secondary. I did not expect that. And again, for a guy who just likes football, I'm not trying to sit here and say I love offense or anything. I just like football. To watch Kenneth Walker do what he did against that run defense, I thought was incredible. I did not expect that in a million years for him to torch them like that. That's a very good interior run defense. And Kenneth Walker made it look so good, man. So I enjoyed that game, Dean.
Yeah, I didn't love the first. Also, when it was like 12-0, it's like this game is over. It felt over when it was like a 10-point game, essentially, because the Patriots, like you said, they could not move their offensive line. I think shout out to you as well. I think you were the one that was telling me you got in my ear about the how weak the offensive line is for the Patriots. I think the left side just getting absolutely abused. And they were sending 4 essentially the entire game, and they were getting home with 4, and that's a cheat code. And the other part is Drake May was hurt. He was playing hurt. They had to shoot him up. The shoulder was a legitimate issue. He mentioned that end of the game, when all things were over. But Seattle could have won that game by 40, by the way. Like, Darnold missed JSN for like an 80-yard touchdown pass in the first quarter. Could have very, very easily happened. He missed Shaheed for a bomb as well. They could have won that game by 40. They took away a touchdown from Walker, right? That would have hit the over, by the way. Thankfully, we got the under. That I gave you the under, Chop. I think that's the one I told you I liked. Maybe it was on Friday. I don't recall. One of the shows. The under's nobody likes rooting for the under, but they could have won that game by 40 points. It was an absolute domination. Even the punter, the kicking game was awesome. 5 for 5.
Man,
the punter was just planting it in the 5-yard line every time.
That guy, man. That guy was good. Like, he was just Because you also got to keep that thing away from Marcus Jones, who's probably one of the top 2 punt return specialists in the NFL. To keep it away from him and then to keep pinning, that was exquisite special teams. Dean Myers and just nailing everything inside on the field goals, just good like special teams. Fantastic stuff, Dean. I enjoyed it. The ladder, Dean, was the Seattle Sacks.
Oh,
that
man.
was the ladder. I saw it too. I saw it, man. I saw that thing and I was like, okay, let's see here. And the breaking point there, the even number was something like 4 or 5, and I was like, oh, come on, man. You guys are out of your brain. That's too much. So I didn't do it. But actually, in hindsight, probably should have laddered that thing up to about 5 or 6. Even though, although the one at the end there was a pick 6, it was not a sack.
Yeah.
You got screwed on that one.
I saw that Seattle throughout the playoffs did not turn the ball over once, which is incredible. Drake May got sacked 21 times in total, just fully beat up. That line was pretty putrid, and I think I still feel good about May. People are gonna want to call him out or whatever. He's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna figure stuff out. And again, I don't think he was 100%. The halftime show was awesome. Chop, I need your take on that. I thought Bad Bunny, that presentation was spectacular. Thoroughly enjoyed it. In part, possibly because it woke me up, because the first half was so boring. But Chop, you got anything else as far as the game? Any commercials that stood out for you? You want to, Bad Bunny guy? Is that in your rotation?
Well, let's start off with the commercials. The Super Bowl being the thing you sit down and you half the nation is just watching for commercials. That is a thing of the past. AI has ruined everything, Dean. I think half those commercials were AI generated and they were terrible. There was no creativity this year. The best one was the Goodwill Dunkin' with Ben Affleck and that big cast. And you like donuts? Why you like these nuts? And he pushed that was the best.
It was targeted for us. Like 20-year-olds didn't get it, but it was targeted for us.
But the other commercials, with the exception of maybe one or two, were awful. No creativity, no fun. There just wasn't good. So commercials dead. Halftime show. I'm certainly not a plant the flag American purist here. I'm not gonna. But I didn't necessarily I usually don't have an opinion on the halftime show unless it's really good or really bad. I don't really have an opinion, So I don't really have much of it. I found myself a little bit disinterested because I couldn't follow along because I couldn't speak the language. The visuals looked fine. I wish I would have known what the story he was trying to tell, because you can't just really, you can't really tell the story or hear the story if you don't understand the language. And it was obvious he was telling a story there to us. I just couldn't get into it because I didn't know what he was saying, but it looked okay. It looked fine. I just wish I could have followed along more, but that's okay.
That was a real wedding, apparently. I saw. I don't know if you saw. There was an actual wedding being performed at the Super Bowl. That was totally legit. That wasn't just like a, for aesthetic.
I do want to point one thing I did not like about the halftime Super Bowl.
Yes. This
could have been any. This goes for any Super Bowl halftime, anything like that. I did not like that there was so much pre-recorded stuff put into the halftime show that leading us to believe that it was that was happening live. Like
when he fell. I mean, you
that was pre-recorded, but there were several things that when you pointed out later on, some of the other stuff was pre-recorded too that I didn't necessarily. If you're gonna I want to see it all live, but there was a couple things that were pre-recorded.
Well, I mean, I hear you, but that's because of tech issues, I would imagine, mostly in part dancing.
Hey, man.
Did you know
Prince went out there in the thunderstorm and did his stuff live.
Prince was amazing. That's
go for it, dude. Go for it if you're gonna go for it, man. You're at the halftime Super Bowl. If you mess up, if something messes up, it messes up, man.
It started raining like when Purple Rain started. Sorry, he started playing Purple Rain. Just perfect. They cued the rain in Miami, and I think I said this before, but I could have been on the field for that. I was in the area, a couple days beforehand, and somebody randomly came up to me and my friend and said, "Hey, you want to be in the halftime show for Prince?" And we had a party to go to, and we're like, "We're going to go to the party." Terrible call, terrible decision on my part. The party, nothing memorable happened there, but it would have been cool to see Prince. I don't think they shuffle you in to shuffle you out. You wouldn't get to watch the game, but still would have been pretty cool to watch the game, watch Prince perform. By the way, Whitney Houston, the famous national anthem she performed, That was pre-recorded too. Does that make it worse? Does that taint it for you? Like these things just happen. You probably think it wasn't. It doesn't. She actually pulled it off. You made it seem like it was not.
The Star Spangled Banner?
I'm like 99% certain that was pre-recorded.
I'm not I don't care about that.
No, but like that's one of the more memorable ones that people remember the Whitney Houston one.
I don't mind.
They have to do it for just because of
I don't mind the national anthem. I just like the videos. You're dropping videos within the halftime show there, and it's pre-recorded. I don't like that. If you can't get if it's not live, don't do it.
All right. I mean, that's not halftime stuff. That's just like going to a concert as well, Chop.
Just a video. Then it just becomes a video. Then do a halftime video. Right? If you're gonna just pre-record it, it's okay. Yeah. Hey, to each his own, man. It's just my preference. I prefer I would prefer an artist who is really good at what they do, stand up there on stage, and give it to us for about 10 to 12 minutes at halftime with his best, with his best songs or his or her best songs. Give it to us, man, live. I'm fine with that. I don't need everything. I don't have to have the big production.
It's a spectacle. It's a Super Bowl. It's got to be like.
What are the best ones you've ever remembered? It's the guys just standing there, just you two, just the background, blaring, and they're doing their best hits, or Prince or Michael Jackson. Those are the best ones. It's not necessarily the Weeknd running through the maze and doing it. It's just float your boat, man. Bobby Gomes, I know it was an awful game for you New Englanders. I apologize for that, but we tried to tell you on the survey. What's his name? Jordan Van Eck tried to tell you in the Slack, your Patriots are gonna get it. He got you, but hey, man, good luck, Bobby. Maybe you'll get back.
There's a scenario like where that game's played like 30% of the time, Patriots lose by 30. Like that game is not as close as a scoreboard. All those field goals that could have been touchdowns. Okay, let's talk about the slate. It's a 7-gamer again. What body parts are we looking for? Josh Giddey's officially doubtful, so we're assuming he is still out. Franz Wagner is back for Orlando, but going to be really on a strict minutes limit. Bam Adebayo expected to play with his hip. Miami and Minnesota, those are the two teams in the back half of back-to-back. Nobody on the front of a back-to-back of our concern. The Lakers, I believe, are on the front end, but who cares, because that is not on our slate. Norm Powell is questionable with his back. That's of note. Atlanta is a big one. Dyson Daniels is questionable with his ankle, as is Jalen Johnson with his knee. Let's see. What else do we have that we're keeping an eye on? Proctor is questionable. Jalen Tyson's questionable. Dean Wade. So Tyson matters, I guess, to some degree. The rest of the guys, not so much there for Cleveland. Jamal Murray has got a hip, so he is questionable. So, keep an eye on that stuff. Is there one player, I was looking at the if-then stuff, that you're most interested in as far as they're in or out? Jalen Smith is also questionable last I saw. Jamal Murray, I mentioned. Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels. I think that's the one that Atlanta can really, really open up if we happen to lose those two. Anything we're monitoring as far as injuries that you think can flip the slate on its proverbial head?
There's just all kinds of stuff out there. Little stuff that, I don't even know. I'm Atlanta, the Denver, the Jamal Murray, like all of it. Any of it could be a big change, and I don't think necessarily one thing is bigger than the other. I'm playing it by ear until tip off, like you have to do with the NBA, and that's that.
All right, Chop, let's do it. Let's dive in. First game, Detroit taking on Charlotte. Charlotte, the hottest team in basketball, I think. What do they won? Like 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row, something like that. Not an amazing total. We're looking at 221.5. Charlotte is a 3-point dog here at home versus Detroit. Who's in? Who's out for this one? Well, we have Malachi Branham was traded, but he's not traded. Was he no longer with the team? I think they cut him. He wasn't traded. I think he was cut in order to make room for I can't remember who it was. Doesn't matter. And Kobe White's going to be out until they say at least the All-Star break. They traded for him. He's not yet debuted for the Hornets. Jalen Duren expected to be good to go for Detroit. Holland is out for personal reasons for Detroit. And, nobody else of note here for the Pistons. So Pistons pretty healthy, basically fully healthy. And same deal with Charlotte. Two healthy teams. I know Kobe White, we've not yet seen him with Whites, the newly acquired Whites. Hornets, Pistons. How do we feel about this game?
Uneventful. I mean, it's fine. Let me adjust my monitor a little bit. It's fine. It's uneventful. There's nobody from this game that I feel like I need to make make an effort to plug into one of my lineups tonight. But then I'm not necessarily marking a bunch of guys. Charlotte 1 through 5 is fine. Nobody stands out, but they're fine. Ball, Miller, Knipple, Bridges, and Diabate, all fine plays on their own. Not necessarily. Don't want too many players from this game in general in the same lineup. And similar to Detroit, Cunningham, Duran, Thompson, Tobias Harris, they're fine, but nobody highlighted that stands out to me as being anything special.
Checking out the ownership stuff as far as what you're suggesting, what you're talking about. That's mostly confirmed. Most popular player currently, we see Knipple at 20% on DK, Miller at 19, Assar at 15. The stars, Cunningham 11, Ball third. Well, as far as the minutes, 31 minutes we're expecting, which is nice to see. He's getting more minutes these days. It is an island game for Charlotte, kind of a measuring stick game to some extent. With Detroit being one of the better teams in the East. But I'm kind of with you, Chop. I don't really love this game. I'll check out the FanDuel stuff as well, and I think it plays out essentially the same. Yeah, Miller 7-6, 20%. Assar 15% at 6-5. I don't really like that a heck of a lot. And again, you can get these stars pretty, mostly unowned, but mostly ignored. Cunningham around 11%. And where's Ball on FanDuel? 8%. I think if I were to pick one, it's probably Ball, because I think there's a chance. He's a really good fantasy point minute guy, obviously, and assuming he gets those 32, 33, something like that, full minutes, which he hasn't been getting necessarily every game. But I don't really love the matchup versus Detroit's. This is mostly a stay away from me, Chop. And as somebody that only makes a couple lineups, one real main lineup. Are you running 20? Well, what's the strategy tonight? 20 or 1?
20. Just try to, 20. Figure it out from there. Just, I don't feel like I want to. The games are close enough in distance time-wise that I don't have to, you don't have to stay up following the news too late. Not those 3 late games got bumped off, so it makes it easier to do multiple lineups tonight.
It's also the only 7 o'clock game here. So again, if we have news that we're kind of waiting for, I'm okay just kind of punting this game off and hoping it doesn't get completely loose. First clue for Movie Monday was hide. We'll drop the second clue here in a second. Some guesses coming on through. It is not A Quiet Place. That's a good guess. It's not Sinners or The Others or Shrek or Goonies. Catch Me If You Can. Another good guess. Or The Purge. Second clue. Maybe this changes things for people. Report. Hide, report. That is your first 2 clues. Tell me what movie I'm talking about. Second game. It's the Bulls. The Bulls and the Nets. This is 7:30 on the East Coast. There were multiple 7:30 games. I think it's 3. Yeah, this is the first of 3, Chop. Bulls, Nets, 218.5. We don't love that total. Bulls are 3.5 point favorites here at Brooklyn. Zach Collins is still out. We haven't seen him in forever. Dosunmu, of course, traded away. Trey Jones, unlikely to play. Giddey, unlikely to play. So, Ivy, Anthony Simons, newly acquired. We're expecting those guys to go. And Jalen Smith is currently questionable as well, which is of note. They do have they brought in Nick Richards. They have Yabusele. Yabusele is a guy that might take advantage of that. Brooklyn, if we happen to lose Smith. It is an island game for Brooklyn. Despite that, Yegor Yeoman needs his rest. He is exhausted. He's a rookie. He's like 20, but he's tired. So he's got to rest tonight. MPJ is also out. They gave him a knee. They traded away. They didn't trade away. They cut Cam Thomas, right? And Milwaukee is really daring Giannis to just come out and say, I got to get traded away from this team because, good Lord, is there a worse 4 players to play with than Cam Thomas, Kevin Porter Jr., Bobby Portis, and Kyle Kuzma? Like, imagine looking at those guys as your teammates and saying, like, this is the worst team ever assembled. We'll talk about the Bucks. The Bucks stood it up, but they picked up Cam Thomas just to force Giannis to come out and say, yes, this team is terrible. Get me away from this place. We're talking about the Bulls and the Nets, though. Danny Wolf expected to play a fair bit of minutes here against Chicago because, Brooklyn without. They got rid of Thomas. MPJ is out as well. how are we feeling about the Nets and the Bulls?
Well, a little bit more uneventful basketball, except for Danny Wolf is the first guy I'll highlight today as a guy who's possibility having a good game at a good price tag. He does have a little fantasy upside in him. He's rather a tall. He's like I think he's 7 foot, close to 7 foot. Can stand out there at the 3-point line. So he's a good rebounder. He's a good playmaker. Assists, 3-point shooting. So I do kind of like him under 5K. I don't mind. And Chicago is just not a good team. So yeah, Danny Wolf is the first guy that'll stand out to me. The rest of it is not so great. Claxton, Clowney, Traore, Sharp, nothing there on the Chicago side. Just a bunch of guards, man. Just a bunch of guards going at it, cannibalizing themselves. I don't think anybody really stands out. And Bazulis is too expensive for me. So, and Brooklyn's play better defense as the season's going on. So, not too interested in the Chicago side. But Danny Wolf, the one guy in this game that I think we can certainly one off here.
Yeah, you say just the construction of the Bulls team. I understand they're kind of in flux and they're obviously not going anywhere, but it's pretty hilarious that who looks at this team like it's not the way a roster is supposed to be constructed. But they do have some height now in, is he even on the team, Leonard Miller? I don't think so. Is he even available, or he's in the G League or something like that? No, I guess he's there. He is a tall player, probably not playing much, if anything at all. But yeah, what a strangely constructed team the Chicago team is with all their guards and a center like Yabusele, who's like 6'7", 6'8". I think he would get a boost. Let me see what we have for trying to see how much in play he would become. I'm pulling up the if then stuff here if I can find it. Yeah, so if we lose Jalen Smith, we're giving Yabusele 26 minutes, like 27 DK fantasy points, median score, 27 in FanDuel as well. So I think he will be playable. Obviously the pace against Brooklyn's not necessarily ideal. Chop It is not All the President's Men. Somebody guessed in chat All the President's Men. It is not, but that is a good guess. Not the Born Identity or Independence Day or The Departed or Minority Report. Really underrated movie. Or Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. It's definitely not that. Shout out to Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes. Or Snowden. Anything else you want to say of note here as far as Brooklyn and Chicago? I did want to say I think Wolf's ownership is pretty strong. Let me see where it's at now. Yeah, we got a 45% right now. That's a big boy number. We're expecting him to start. Like you said, he can step out at the 3. It's a great matchup against Chicago as far as jumping up in pace. But that is a pretty big number for 7-game slate. Did you mention Sexton? How do you feel about Chalk Colin Sexton? Because
I don't like him as much. I'll be well underweight on that compared to what the field will be. Yeah, I don't like Sexton that much. That one jumped out to me as being he's a little bit too highly owned tonight.
43%, and who knows how Chicago's going to run their team or whatever. But to me, shouldn't you prioritize like Ivy and Simons and Dillingham all over Sexton? Like, what Sexton is. He is what he is. They're not – when the Bulls are theoretically good, who knows when that's going to be. Sexton's not going to be around in any capacity. There's no reason to develop him. There's no reason to give him any minutes.
Counter that by saying everybody you mentioned is probably not very good. And that's why they kind of are where they are right now.
We don't know for sure that Ivy's not very good.
I don't know if you watched Ivy play in the NBA recently, but
you're probably right. But we know what Sexton is.
Yeah, we know what Sexton. I mean, yeah, so that's fine. Simons is a 3-point guy. You give him volume, 3-point shots, they can fall. But man, he's not. I doubt he's ever going to be part of like a championship type rotation because he just can't play defense. And
yeah.
And who's the other one you mentioned? Who's the other one?
Dillingham.
Dillingham. Yeah, he's too small. He's too small for the NBA.
He was a lottery pick, right? Wasn't he a lottery pick?
Lottery, but in certain drafts, once you get past the really good players, you're just kind of taking shots. And Minnesota really needed a guard at that time, but he's too small. He was always too small, so he's not going to make it. But whatever. Just who knows? They're just obviously not really worried about winning right now. And I think this is all just none of these guys will be here, in a few years when they're really trying to turn this thing around and do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't disagree with your premise, but I just think like we know for sure what Sexton is, and you're probably right about Ivy. You're probably right about Dillingham, and you also traded for these guys. Like you might as well just see what they can do and under your tutelage. But okay, that's just Sexton at like 50% ownership feels icky to me as well. I don't like it. But he's probably going to be fine. Just I don't understand why they would not push him down a little bit. We got anything else here? Chicago, Brooklyn, moving along.
Nah, that's it.
All right. Not Captain Phillips, not the Rip, not Zodiac. I just gave Zodiac a rewatch recently, Chop. It's awesome. We don't talk about Zodiac enough. It's very, very good. Yeah, it's not Zodiac though. Okay, let's get the third clue. Why not? Since we're talking about it, third clue is Babe. Hide, report, Babe. That is your first three clues for Movie Monday. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium in that Discord channel. Tell me what movie I'm talking about. The Jazz, the absolute embarrassment of the league. It is not concussion. It is the Jazz taking on the Miami Heat. Miami Heat back half of a back-to-back. 240, a big boy total for sure. Miami 7-point favorites here versus Utah. Who's in? Who's out for this one? Well, Keontae George is legitimately injured. He's legitimately hurt his ankle. Kessler Walker, of course, out for the season. Kevin Love, he's old. He's got to rest. No revenge game for Kevin Love. They're not letting him get revenge against the Heat. He played for them, for real. What happened? Look it up. Bam Adebayo officially available on the injury report with his hip. Tyler Hero still out with ribs. He's got more than one. And they have a bunch of guys they always list as available. Won't run those down. But Miami is like the only team that does that. It's super annoying. Pele Larson is doubtful. That's important. He's got his forearm. We're ruling him out. And what's the other one that's of notes here? I think there's another one. Oh, yeah, Norm Powell is questionable with his back. Yeah, the Heat, we love this matchup against Utah. The environment is spectacular. There's a non-zero chance Isaiah Collier plays 48 minutes again. I mean, they do have they do have guys that can throw out there. We've seen two of the last three games, and last game that was because Keontae George in part. Keontae George, he got hurt. He got hurt in the middle of the game, and they also full on tanked. I'm sure you saw this. People are talking about it. That was the game against Orlando. They were up like 10 or 11 or 12 end of the third quarter. They just traded for Triple J. They benched him. They iced him. They iced Nurkic. They iced Markkanen. They let all their nonsense close out the game, and we're seeing new levels to tanking. It's not just this guy's got a fake injury, this guy's fake sick, this guy's not going to start, he's going to dress, we're not going to play him. Now it's in-game tanking we have to worry about, and how do you project stuff like this? And in part, it's based upon what's the score, right? If the Jazz are down 15 in the fourth quarter, they probably let Triple J play. Like, sure, why not? Give him a little bit of run. Nothing suspicious here. If they're up 15, and there's no way of predicting this again, if they're up 15 in the fourth quarter, they're probably going to continue on doing this, I would imagine, because they really, really want to lose. They have all the reasons in the world to want to lose. I don't want to play any of these like superior Jazz players, I guess, is Markkanen and Triple J and Nurkic. I just don't trust it, but I guess in theory you can tell yourself a story that if they're down, these guys will play regular minutes. But I do think Collier is really, really interesting because we can't project him for 48, but there's a chance. I think we're projecting for 38 officially, which is still the biggest number on the board. Jazz Heat, what do you got?
Lots of good players from this game for sure. On the Utah side, Collier stands out because of the minutes and the pace. There's an extra bonus here that he'll get against Miami. So he's the best player on that side. But I would say Lauri Markkanen could be good if somehow you got the minutes for Nurkic, he could do well, but I'm not counting on that one though. But Collier's fantastic. It's the Miami side that's like exceptional here because everybody in this team is going to get any kind of significant minutes. If you're into the whole matchup thing, defense versus archetype or defense versus position, they're all going to get high rankings today, every single one, because Utah is just there's just a bad defense. They give up more points than anybody else in the NBA. It's the highest team total tonight for Miami. Miami's the highest team total tonight. Look at the defensive metrics for Utah. They're just not good anywhere in particular. And they happen to push the pace a little bit and Miami does also. So you're going to get some tempo here. So they're all good. I think what stood out to me is that while I love the upside of Khalil Ware,
Yeah.
if indeed he's going to be the guy who's bordering on 60% ownership almost, and Bam's under 5, man, that seems like a nice little GPP kind of pivot, like that seems like a pretty good spot you could. But I like Bam. I like Khalil Ware. Uh, Mitchell's fine because the pace is going to help him. Wiggins and Norman Powell are really good. If for no other reason that Utah is going to sit there and allow you to shoot 3-pointers at will, and those are two of the biggest 3-point shooters on that team. I kind of highlighted Jaime Jaquez as a guy I liked in the survey too, just because out of all the guys that we talked about, Bam, Powell, Ware, Wiggins, Mitchell, if that game is like 20 points with 8 minutes left or something like that, Jaquez is the most likely out of all of them to go out there with the other scrubs and dominate touches and get some extra fantasy points for you over the course of the next 3 or 4 minutes.
And
Where a little bit, but Jaquez will just kind of bounce around and you're kind of trying to rack up stats. Jaquez will forcefully, demand the ball and get his back and get his post game going against anybody, against all the scrubs. He likes to do that. So yeah, I like Ware in that spot if that happens. And I think there's a pretty good chance that the way Utah's playing this year, we could see that scenario break down. So I could, every one of the Miami people are good. I'd probably limit it to 3 at the most because I don't think you need that tonight, but I think they're all in a really good spot. I think maybe 2 of them blow up, but those are the guys I like the most.
I was trying to find an if-then. I don't see one set up for Powell, but like if he doesn't play, this Miami side looks even better. Jaquez would certainly get a bump. I think Ware, his minutes will be more solidified. We saw Ware finally get a jump in minutes last game. He's been buried for a while, but we saw a jump there for his minutes, in part because of blowout. And if this game does blow out, I think there's a good chance that Ware gets some blowout run against Utah. And that the price has come down enough and the matchup is good enough where I think the problem is, like you kind of said, everybody else sees it too. Like all the projection stuff sees it. Like there's nothing sneaky about Ware today. He's going to be heavily owned and he may not start. We currently have him at 56% ownership, center and center only on DK. And we're only having 24 minutes. Like 24 is not a crazy number. And again, Pelly Larson, we're assuming he's out. He's officially doubtful. You mentioned Bam. I like him more on FanDuel. Now, like ownership's going to like him more with there too. He's 8-3 on FanDuel. DK, you got to really pay for him. I think he's 8-8. Yeah, he's 8-8 on DK. 8-3 on FanDuel is a really good price. I'm not saying you can't play him on DK at 8-8 because he certainly can drop 50 on Utah, and none of that would be surprising. I'm just playing Collier in the matchup against Miami. I don't think he plays 48 officially, right? I think there's a chance that I think he plays between like 36 and 40, something like that, I would imagine. But like the matchup against Miami is really, really good. The pace is spectacular. So I think even though the price has been elevated, we know George, that's the big deal. George is out. Do you think you're going to have Collier in more than 50% of your line? Well, it's only 30%. I think it'll be higher than that. Are you in on Collier?
Yeah, in on Collier for sure. A lot of good things working for him tonight, including, like I said, the pace. And on DraftKings, he's actually 200 cheaper than he was last game on DraftKings. So, yeah, I like Collier.
Yeah. And what are you doing with the nonsense the Jazz is doing? Like, is the league going to step in and reprimand? Like, what can the league do? I have no idea. Like, supposedly, the league, I don't know if you saw this, there was a report the league is investigating the Thunder for when they played the Spurs last week, and it was the back half of back-to-back. It was national TV. And the NBA don't like pissing off their sponsors, and the sponsors were pissed when the Thunder, SGA legitimately hurt, but everybody else had fake injuries. And they played 7 or 8, I guess they played 8 guys against the Spurs. And supposedly that's getting investigated. Does the NBA know the Jazz exist? Do they know the Kings are even in their league? Because, if you're gonna go after one, and that was not really a tank. That was just, we're gonna arrest a bunch of guys just because.
Okay. Well,
Did you see that, Chop?
Yeah, I saw it. And
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious answer to that we know is that the Thunder and teams like that are actually on national TV and stuff, and the Kings and Utah's not, and so they don't care as much about that. But they do need to get a grasp on the whole everything, right? Like the sitting here right now on February the 9th and having all these teams absolutely trying their best to lose games.
Yeah.
It's just the product is bad. It's gone down. It's gone so down over the last 5 or 6 years. Like, it's so bad right now. Like, me as a sports fan, sit here and a guy who does content on this stuff, I see it, man. And it used to be, honestly, Dean went back in the day. I'm going to go back. I don't know the exact time frame. Let's just call it the draft street days. You remember that? The draft street days?
Yeah.
So whatever time frame, like at that point in time, like right around, NBA was the best. NBA was the best DFS sport. It was the funnest. You know, the product was great. You go back then, now you fast forward here to 2026. It's the worst. It's the worst of the big 3 or 4 by far. It's just by far the worst. And that's a product of the way the teams treat it, man, with the way they do the injuries and the tanking. So they should really get a grasp on it somehow.
The solution is?
Yeah, listen, I'm not throwing things out there before, but you can't tell me the NBA doesn't have enough money to put together like a 20-person think tank of the smartest guys out there right now and figure something out. Because also, Dean, in addition, like when you mentioned OKC sitting those guys out on a national TV game, it's like they don't know. It's like these owners or the coaches in the play. It's like they don't know where their bread is buttered, man. That's how you're able to get these $50 million a year contracts for the good players. It's how you're able to do this is the TV money. Like, I don't know how you spit in the face of your commissioner like that. That's what it is. But yeah, they need to figure that out, man. I don't know what they get. Like I say, get a think tank together. I don't know. I know you say it would never happen, but maybe it is. Maybe it is a different time frame on the season, and maybe it does become a shorter season. Maybe there's something else that goes on in that aspect of it. Something's got to give, though, because the product is going down the tubes in a major way. And I'm not – like, I've always been an NBA fan, man, but the difference is night and day between this and 10 years ago. So
I would say like the best of it is the best it's ever been, and the worst of it is the worst it's ever been, if that makes sense. Like, when it's really, really good, it's great, right? When it's at its best, it's great. But this is terrible. And
I would agree with that. And the problem, I would agree with that. The problem is that the best is so little now. It's such a little amount of time compared to the worst. Like, the worst is overwhelmingly the bigger piece of the pie.
Yeah, and then also like maybe Sacramento doesn't want to do this, but like they see Brooklyn doing it, they say, okay, well, we got to do it because they're doing it, and you just got to keep up with everybody else, and you can't be out tanked because the race to the bottom is so tight. It's so tight. There's like 5 or 6 just absolutely atrocious teams, and you can't just give up games and win them. you can't accidentally win games. It's brutal. It really, really hurts. And just wait until the Pacers start entering it. It's coming because the Pacers have to finish top 4, bottom 4. To keep their pick. So they're going to start too. It's happening. Get rid of the lottery. Just throw it out and screw, if you stink, figure it out. It's on you. Just get rid of the lottery. That's a solution. Or they have like the randomizer, like have like the next 15, 20 years mapped out every, and it just sort of like selects. It's pre-selected every year for the next 10 years. Like you're slotted in a certain spot, if that makes sense. Like this is going to be where you're going to be, and that's it. No matter who comes out, who's coming out, what your record is, you can do that as well. That's something I've heard thrown out there. It's got a term for it. I can't think of the word, though. Okay, Bucks and Magic. This, by the way, speaking of the TV partners, this is the Peacock. First half of Peacock doubleheader. They got Orlando. We were told Orlando was going to be good to start the season. Milwaukee, too. So 220.5 is the total. Orlando is a 10-point favorite versus the Bucks. All right. So who's in and out for this one? We have the arrival. He's back. Franz Wagner. He's going to be on a minutes limit, but Franz Wagner is back with his ankle, and Wendell Carter is officially questionable with his ankle as well. Milwaukee your name's Antetokounmpo. You're not playing basketball. Don't get me started on Kaushi. What are we doing, Giannis? Spoiling your good name. And then Tareen Prince, of course, he's still out. Otherwise, everybody is healthy. Everybody's good to go. The most poorly constructed team of basketball, whatever the Bucks are throwing out these days, taking on the Magic. 10-point favorites, Orlando. How do you see this one?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Kaushi, Dean, because that's another thing we should be getting rid of in this society is the prediction markets.
Well, that ain't going away. The horse has left the barn.
I understand the betting, DraftKings and FanDuel Sports, that's not going away, unfortunately, even though I kind of wish that would too. But the prediction markets, come on, man. That's what needs to go away. When you have,
good luck.
Well, I don't know, man. I think that might be the one that what is it? The one they throw the one pig that gets kind of roasted when they try to sort through everything. They keep the straight up sports betting in the legal states, but the prediction markets don't cut it. They kind of get chopped because what's going on there. I don't know if you've seen some of this stuff. The insider trading is outrageous, man.
Well, that's Giannis. That's the one. The
Giannis. That's Caruso. That's Caruso. That's the guy who knew the Bad Bunny set list and put all his money in on who Lady Gaga showing up and Ricky Martin showing up, and then it's Alex Caruso doing the what he did. That was a bunch of BS. Then there was the guy today put $100,000 on some missile strike on Iran. Like, whoa, if that happens, then wait a minute. Then you had some insider trading on a missile strike and you're putting it out there on Couch. But
that's crazy.
All of it, man. All of it. And so it's just really, that's the one that needs to really go away. But as far as this game is concerned, Dean, now, as far as this game is concerned, I'm not big on the Milwaukee side. There's some okay plays. Rollins and Porter are going to project well, but I don't know if I'm just not all that into that side. The Orlando side is good, even with Franz Wagner back. I think there's still some meat left on the bone when you look at the way Milwaukee has played over the last month and a half or so since Giannis has been down and injured, and the players that they've had to play with. Their defense has not been good, and so you can take advantage of it all. So Banchero's going to get some work on the inside. I like Suggs. I actually have Suggs stamped here as a play I really like for some reason. The ownership is a little bit higher than I would have wanted because I kind of thought maybe he'd fly a little bit more under the radar on our bigger slate. But I do like Suggs. I like Black. And I think Bane can sit out there and drain some three-pointers tonight. And if he gets hot from the three-point line, he's going to be in good shape. But I think that Orlando side has some potential here.
We have Suggs coming in at 18% on DK, Porter, KPJ at 17%, and otherwise nobody in double digits for either team on DK. This game mostly ignored. The only player in double digits on FanDuel is Suggs at 20%. Rollins on the fringe at 9%, 8-4. But I don't really like this game. I'm not really into it. I don't want to say it's a full-on cross-out, but I only play so many lineups, and I'm probably not going to play anybody from this game. Let's see. Checking out the Discord channel. Some guesses coming up through for today's Movie Monday. It is not Marathon Man or Batman Forever, or The Usual Suspects, Charlotte's Web, or The Sandlot, or Reacher, or Pig. You ever see that, the Nick Cage movie? It's not your typical Nick Cage movie. But was the word you were looking for, Chop? Sacrificial lamb. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that's the phrase I was looking for.
The chat was helping you out there on that one. Let's give the people a fourth clue. Let's give you a fourth clue, Chop. You're playing along as well, trying to get today's movie. If you guess correctly in the Discord channel, it's RotoGrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. You guess correctly, you get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. All the bells, all the whistles, the optimizer, Picklabs, football, baseball, basketball. I say Picklabs. I don't know if you get Picklabs. Is that included? I'm not sure. We'll talk about that in a second. But you get the articles and Noto's article and the rankings and the expert survey with myself and Chop participate in multiple times a week. Fourth clue, rodent. So it's hide, reports, babe, and rodent. That is your 4 clues. Get in that Discord. Tell me what movie I'm talking about. All right. I mean, they're still in the league. They haven't kicked them out just yet. So we got to talk about the Sacramento Kings. The Kings at the Pelicans. The Pelicans You know how bad the Pelicans are, and they're 10-point favorites. It is not The Departed, but that is a good guess, Chop. Not The Departed. Pelicans, 230.5 is the total. They're 10-point favorites for Sacramento. Speaking of tanking, very, very egregious tanking. Their players just tend to go away in the fourth quarter if the game is close. We're looking at 10 live bodies for the Kings because they rule a lot of players out. Who's not playing basketball for Sacramento tonight? DeAndre Hunter has got an eye. Zach LaVine, he's got a finger. They say it's his right fifth finger. So there you go. That's the pinky, right? They couldn't say pinky. Right fifth finger on the injury report. That's the pinky or the thumb. I'm not sure which way you do that. Malik Monk is out. He had the fish. He's ill. Keegan Murray's still out. Domantas Sabonis, he's not playing. He hasn't played in a while. He's got that back. So we're down to 10 Kings. New Orleans, fully healthy. Everybody's healthy. Alvarado left out the door. But DeJounte Murray may come back at some point. They say he's practicing, but I don't know why would he. But he's not with the team. He hasn't played all season long. He might be with the team. He's not playing, though. New Orleans and Sacramento, Chop. Man, guys on the Kings that are projecting to hit some lineups. Devin Carter and Dylan Caldwell. Mr. Plow, that name again. Mr. Plow, Daquan Plowden, Maxime Renault. There's some nonsense that is hitting some lineups here for Sacramento because they're thin. The matchup is good, and they're probably going to make sure to play their terrible players a little bit more than their a little bit less terrible players. Kings, Pels, what do you got, Chop?
Sacramento is the weirdest team. Weirdest team because, New Orleans, when you look up their defense and kind of, some different things, you see what you can kind of shoot some 3-pointers on them. They're more adapted to guarding the paint than they are the 3-point line or what have you. And anyway, I'm just digging into like Sacramento 3-point shooters and who, the volume, the highest volume active 3-point shooter for those guys this year is Russell Westbrook, believe it or not. Russell Westbrook. Yeah, that's so bizarro, man. Russell Westbrook actually shooting like your leading 3-point shooter, of the guys that are active on the team. So
Murray's got to be shooting more. Wait, is Murray not counting? Are you not counting him?
Which Murray?
Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray's got to be shooting more like per game, right?
But he's not a guy that's projected.
Okay, not playing tonight. Yeah.
Of the guys tonight that I can actually play that are
okay.
Like Russell's the best one. 3-point. So yikes, that's tough. And Dylan, and then you go to Dylan Cardwell, who's projecting fantastic tonight, and he's been putting up good numbers. So I get where it's coming from, but in my mind, I'm thinking back to like a year ago. I guess he's a rookie, right? It got to be a rookie, second year at the most. But I think he's a rookie. I think he was at Auburn last year in the Final Four. I'm thinking of the same Auburn guy who couldn't put up a double-digit fantasy game at Auburn, man. And like he was terrible as a fantasy player, and now he's in the NBA dropping 30 burgers on guys. It's so bizarre, man. The whole team is just so weird. And now tonight you're going to get a heavy optimal presence from Devin Carter. I don't agree with any of that stuff either. So it's just a weird team. I think as individual pieces, Cardwell, Reynaud, Carter, maybe Westbrook, they're fine as individuals, and I would limit my ownership on them. In general, I can't believe that these guys are the guys hitting the optimals tonight. So I don't know. On the flip side, New Orleans, I do like Zion getting into the paint tonight and roughing up Sacramento. Sadiq Bey's been great lately. Price is climbing up there, but you can certainly play him. And Trey Murphy's been performing at a pretty high level recently, just coming off a 70-piece 2 games ago. So, they're in play. This is 2 crap teams, man. So I wouldn't doubt it if a crap player ends up, breaking the slate here and winding up in the optimal from one of these teams. So it's an interesting game for fantasy, terrible for real life.
So I did confirm. I gave it a Google. I don't watch college basketball. So Cardwell, did play for Auburn last year. He's a 24-year-old rookie. He just turned 24, I guess 55 days ago, but still, you don't see that very often, right? In the NBA.
Seeing a lot more now.
Yeah. I'm looking at the fantasy points per minute stuff for some of these guys, and obviously there's an on-off, and things change depending on who you're playing with and usage. But Plowden, 0.57 fantasy points per minute in the season. Clifford, 0.69. Renault is good, 0.9. That's pretty strong. And Cardwell is pretty strong at 1.08. The thing with Cardwell and Renault, those guys probably don't play. Let me go ahead and check and see what our minutes projection. They're both below 30. Renault at 29, Cardwell 27. You mentioned Westbrook. I'm afraid they're not going to play him. Although some would argue that Westbrook these days probably doesn't help you win. We're giving him 29 minutes. We're giving Plowden 32. Again, it's about points per minute. We care about points per minute a ton, but not all points are created equal. And like Clifford and Plowden, Clifford projected for 35 minutes, Plowden projected for 32. And just because, and the matchup against New Orleans is fine as well. We're giving 20 to Precious. They're down to 10, right? So there's only so much they can do, no matter how ugly this game gets. I do think I'm probably going to end up playing at least one or two of these Kings. I don't love it, just because to make stuff work. I don't know if I'm going to get the two, and again, Clifford and Plowden have been horrendous as far as fantasy points per minute so far this season. Carter's been good. In 206 minutes, Carter over a fantasy point minute 1.02. We're not expecting him to start, but I also think there's a pretty good chance he closes, because I think there's a pretty good chance Westbrook does not close, if that makes sense. And I think, by the way, Norm Powell is out for Miami, and that's a big deal. We'll talk about that in a second. Officially in, also Pele Larson officially out too. So big news for Miami. Bam is officially in with his hip, but yeah, Powell being out, I think, is a big deal. And I'm sure Miami's going to change, get even more popular as we move forward. Did you talk about Zion? You're talking about the Pels. He's my favorite play in this game. I think Queen is a really interesting tournament play. I like Murphy too. I know you mentioned Murphy. I could see myself playing a couple of Kings with either Zion or Murphy, possibly both, if you want to tell yourself a story. Do we want the game to stay close or not stay close is the question, because for New Orleans, you want to stay close. If it's not close, I guess Carter plays either way, right? I imagine so. Doesn't Carter probably closes out? Probably closes either way. If the story that the Kings are telling is that we're not trying.
Yeah. Oh no doubt about that. No doubt.
I think, just trying to think, so Doug McDermott doesn't close, so this game is a 50-point game, right? So I was trying to work backwards. I don't think so, right? You got to play Doug.
Why would this game not going to be a 50-point game?
Well, whatever. I'm saying it to be hyperbolic. If it's 20 or 50, it's the same difference.
No, it's not. It's when is that 20 happen?
Yeah.
It's just that right there is that. I mean, I don't think you have to worry about that. It's just who do you think they're going to throw out there? I think they throw a very similar lineup out there, whether they're down by 6 or down by 20 with 4 minutes left. I think it's the same lineup they throw out there.
We love is just like a general thought, Chop. We just love centers against New Orleans. So, and I think Renault's another guy who possibly likely plays.
He has the fantasy chops, man, for sure.
Terrible defensively, like you love him. He's like Kyle Filipowski.
He can get it done. He can get it done on offense. Yeah,
and he'll help you out in defense. He helps you both ways. I see a lot of Filipowski in him as far as fantasy wise. Pretty good fantasy player, and also just you love picking on him as well, which is why I like Zion and Queen a good bit too. Butto is telling us that it's Clifford's birthday. Apparently, do we care about that? Was he good in college? I don't know much about Clifford.
He was pretty. Yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah, I don't think the birthday thing has anything to do here. Yeah, he can definitely. He's got to have the ball in his hands though to be that kind of guy. But yeah, he can get it done. He got it done in college.
Yeah. If you had to pick one of these Sacramento nonsense pieces like Plowden, Clifford, Carter, Renault, Cardwell, did I say? Who's your favorite amongst this nonsense? Because I think you're going to need at least one of these guys. I really do.
Cardwell's been putting up the numbers. It's just a shock to my system because I know who he is, but he's been putting up the numbers, and I don't see why that wouldn't continue. So I'd go Cardwell. Man, he's still cheap. He's cheaper than Renault.
Yeah. The fantasy points per minute again in the season. Cardwell 1.08, newly signed. They just gave him a 4-year deal. And then we got Renault at 0.9. So Cardwell's been better, as far as fantasy points per minute. Yeah, I think, isn't he center and center only though, which is not necessarily ideal, but you could certainly play him. I want to get to some new optimal lineups, Chop. I'm hitting refresh on the lineup HQ because we got a new update for Miami. I want to see how much Miami is too much Miami, how much Miami is popping now. I also want to talk about Picklabs. Kind of teased it before, Chop. I know you're going to have a couple of picks for me as well. Some of your favorites. Picklabs, the newest RotoGrinders feature, lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in just seconds. Everything is broken down for you. Edges, win rates, the value. You're going to be looking at a clean board. You see it right there in the screen. There's a clean board on the screen. It shows you what stands out across sports books. You can pick whatever sports book you want, depending on what state you happen to be in. I think looks like producer Steve's going to pick. He has been picking DraftKings, but maybe he goes off the board a little bit today. You can do underdog. You can do prize picks. You see something you like, just go ahead and click it, and Picklabs is going to build the slip right there for you and send it to the book of your choosing. RotoGrinders.com/Picklabs. RotoGrinders.com/Picklabs. Chop, let's build the slip. I know it's given some of their favorites based upon likelihood of hitting. But I know yourself, you picked out a couple that you liked. What are some of your favorite plays on the board?
Let's see here what they got up there right now. I'm not really into those. That's just the numbers. I'm not a big, not into those particular numbers. So I would go and look up a guy like Danny Wolf. And that would be a player I'm looking at right now and seeing if I could look at that. The numbers kind of don't like it, but I kind of like the Danny Wolf more than 12.5 points today. It's only getting a 1-star grade and a very mediocre other, but I like Danny Wolf today. So that'd be my first play is the points. He can get it done from the 3-point line. And a little bit of an inside game. And I think is a Chicago team is done, buried, and he's got the size, man, to match up well with that all guard lineup. So I'll give Danny Wolf some points here today.
Yeah, and Chicago's a good team to have size against because they don't have much size at all. We don't know about Jalen Smith if he's playing or not, but that would even make him even smaller. He's currently questionable. A Hero, by the way, they're saying no timetable for Tyler Hero. Wendell Carter, game time decision. Give me another pick or two, Chop. We're building a slip, so we got to make a bit of a parlay. What else you got for me?
All right. Well, let's go to Dylan Cardwell. I wonder what the numbers say on Cardwell. We just talked about him. They don't have a Cardwell. Oh, you'd have to go to see the thing about this. This is just giving you the stuff that it's kind of suggesting here. If you went to that little funnel thing on the very end, yeah, right there, and you go show all lines, then you'll get all the players you want to do right there. So then you go to Cardwell. No, still not okay. Maybe we're misspelling it. Is there a D in there? Cardwell, maybe it's just a W. No. Hey, okay. All right. Now we're off kilter here, man. Let's go to Julius Randle. You got Julius Randle. Is he popping in there? There you go, Julius Randle. Let's go. Let's go with the rebounds on Randle. More now. See, yeah. You probably have to scroll down a minute. It's going to give you both sides. When you unclick that thing and you show the whole player pool, it's going to give you both sides of everything. So I like the more than 6.5 rebounds for Randle tonight. So I'd go that route. So I think it's a good matchup for rebounds for him. And every once in a while he throws together some big time rebounding games. So I like that one. You're on mute, Dean.
Do we want to see what we get of this, or shall we add a third to the mix? Are we good with this, or do we want to add one more?
I mean, I usually go 3, but I'm probably going to start doing more 2 lately. But I usually go with a third and don't do the flex. I do the try to get all 3 for 3.
Sure.
And get those payouts going. I don't know. So if you want to go back to the best grades there, if you like any of that, or if you got somebody, Dean, that'd be cool.
Well, let's just pick one that Picklabs is telling.
Yeah. So let's look at that board. What do you think about Ochua tonight? That's a high grade, man.
I don't feel good about you. He's one of my
weird. But I mean, the numbers, they have them for a reason. They got this, so I get it. But It's there. Now the Kevin Huerter less than 5.5 points. I don't mind that one because he can certainly.
I like that. I like the under.
Because he can certainly come out and do absolutely nothing. Detroit is actually a good team, and they don't need his services if they don't. They don't need
They can
his
replace
service.
him quickly.
Yes, so I don't mind taking and going less on props is so much. So much better. There's more value to it, although we all like to go over most of the time.
And you just, I'm not sure. I can't see if he actually clicked on that. I assume Steve clicked on the Herder bet. So we have all three. Let's see what we got. It's just hitting the old place slip button, or are we still finding it? Or did Steve freeze up on us? I'm not sure what's going on.
No, I hit it. It just takes you to the login page, though. So
okay.
Plus 479 odds.
There you go. All right. So again, check out Picklabs. You can use it at your own leisure for whatever, if you have DraftKings, depending on what your state you're in. Some states you have like Chop, you got Underdog. You were talking about, getting 2 out of 3. Don't mess with that. Obviously,
yeah.
I don't think that other, like the sports books don't have that. You got it's all or nothing with the sports books. But yeah, Underdog, they'll give you a percentage if you hit 2 out of 3. RotoGrinders.com/Picklabs. Fifth clue, Chop. Fifth clue. I know you tell me not to tell you, but maybe you're not playing against the field anymore. Fifth clue for Movie Monday is repeat. Hide, report, babe, rodent, and repeat. Okay, 2 more games to go. Crunch time coming in 10, 15 minutes or so. We have Tasteful Tides. Tim, I believe it's Noto, the Notorious one, as well as Roth. Next game up, it is Atlanta and Minnesota. Atlanta is dicey because we don't know what the story is with Jalen Johnson, who's currently questionable, and Dyson Daniels currently questionable. Let me just confirm and make sure that's the case still. And I did not miss that. I don't think we got new news on those teams. Yeah, Daniels still has that ankle. He's questionable. Johnson's got that knee. He's questionable. Kuminga, I think they said not till the All-Star break. Okongwu is available and good to go with his face mask. Minnesota is fully healthy. Anybody of relevance is good to go for the T-Wolves. 238.5 is the total. Minnesota is an 8-point favorite. How you feeling about the Hawks and Minnesota?
Yeah, it just kind of feels like a game where they turn it to you see, Anthony Edwards played 35 minutes yesterday, and this is the second of a back-to-back. Kind of feels like a game where maybe they turn it to Randall a little bit and say, you know what, go ahead and take us home here, man. So I like Randall. I like Gobert to eat up the middle of this inside in the paint for Atlanta. Maybe grab 12 to 14 rebounds even. So I like that aspect of it. I'm going to be a little bit under on Anthony Edwards coming off the back-to-back and stuff. Even though, man, was it yesterday? They got absolutely plowed by the Clippers, like crazy, man. Clippers ran away with it. I mean, Clippers are whatever they are. Atlanta, not really into Atlanta that much either. They're on the road against a fairly tough team coming off a bad loss who's going to buckle down a little bit more. And Jalen Johnson's their best player by a wide margin, best fantasy guy. And he's 10-7 on DraftKings. It's just a big price to pay, and I think there's other spots that I like better. So, and Dyson Daniels, I mean, we said the numbers last week or 2 weeks ago on the show, and then you watch him play, and the numbers. This guy's shooting air balls on threes. I don't know what happened to him, but it's bad. So Dyson, if he can't score, all the defensive stats in the world can't make up for that at 6'7". So I'm out on the Atlanta side for the most part, but I do think maybe there's a chance Randall is the go-to guy tonight and Gobert eats up Atlanta in the middle.
Do you want an update on Dyson Daniels' 3-point percentage for the season?
I mean, it's got to be 18%.
13.5%.
Whoa, that's bad. I wasn't expecting that.
13.5%. Yeah, that's so terrible. That's so terrible. And he's like, it's not that he's not shooting any. He's shooting 1.5 per 36. He's shooting like 1 to 2 per game, and it's just been so terrible.
So bizarre, man.
Yeah,
because they're wide open too, Dean, and like a guy like that, you watch him in practice, and they just drain him in practice. Like it's not a big. I don't understand. I don't understand what the disconnect is between shooting around and then getting in the game when you're not being contested that much. It's weird.
Like NBA players, some of these guys are so good. Like when they're left alone, it's just so easy. They can hit 10, 15 in a row, 3-pointers. Okay, so by the way, I was looking at the previous years. Like you said, it's like 13% this year. Last year, 34%, 31, 31 the last 3 seasons. Like it's not, I don't know where this came from. By the way, Jalen Smith out for Chicago. We're expecting Gershon Yabusele to jump in the starting lineup. I saw somebody in chat talking about Richards. We think that it's going to be Yabusele getting the majority of those center minutes. And by the way, again, he's 6'7", right? I think he's 6'7". Did we talk about Claxton? Brooklyn's a tricky one too, because they might feel the need to start benching their guys mid-game, which we haven't really seen out of the Nets. They've kind of kept their minutes subdued, 28, 29 or so. They're not playing them a boatload, but a little bit of caution that might kick in at some point for Brooklyn. But in theory, I think Claxton, good matchup here against Chicago. I did hit a new optimal lineup, and I want to see how things change. I guess you could have Richards in the pool, but we're still not loving Richards. Let me see if I can give you the update. I saw somebody asking about it, so I'll give it to him since I mentioned it. 18 minutes, 20 fantasy points, median score, 4K on DK, and there's a chance he plays more than that. We haven't really seen this situation, I don't think, just yet, where we've lost Jalen Smith and Vooks out. Richards, of course, newly acquired, so that maybe he gets a few more. So you don't, he'd be in the pool. He'd be in the pool of guys, Richards. But we've seen him be terrible in getting opportunities in the past at times. And every once in a while, he would get there as well. I think I need a sip of water, Chop. I need you to filibuster for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm going to filibuster for you, Dean. I don't know what you were talking about because I wasn't paying attention, but that's okay, man. So I don't know what the answer is to today's thing, Dean, and I didn't look at the things, but my final guess here on clue number 5 was going to be Groundhog Day because of the repeat at the end. So I'm way late on it. I don't get credit for it, but that was going to be my last guess. And I don't know. I was the repeat was I had Charlotte's Web for a little bit because you did The Babe and The Road, and I was thinking that The Road, when you dropped that one, that was The Departed. I was thinking, and maybe I'm wrong when you go back and do this later on and you tell us how you got, but I was thinking the whole time, Dean, what got me at first was this guy's going to have a movie and it's going to have something to do with the Seattle Seahawks or sports or football or something like that. So that's where concussion came into play and stuff like that. But, but then at the end, I kind of thought, well, maybe not. So maybe I was just off.
It had something to do with Seattle, but you couldn't guess it. I was thinking of Sam Darnold, and I think Sam Darnold's got one of like the biggest redemption stories ever in the history of football. I don't know. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but if you think about it, it's a crazy redemption story for him. He was almost out of the league, and he was a laughing stock and the ghost and Inky and Blinky, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. He's, I think he's 31-7 in his last 38 games.
That is pretty amazing.
So like, and I was thinking, it's one of the biggest redemption stories. So I was thinking of redemption movies. What character had a big redemption arc? Hyde was the first clue, and it's also relevant. This was about a week ago or so. When a groundhog sees its shadow, it goes and hides. It goes and hides. Clue number 2: reports. The main character, Bill Murray, in this movie is a reporter reporting the news. Babe, every single morning he wakes up to the same song. What's the song, Chop? You remember? You've seen this movie before. Sonny and Cher.
I got You, Babe.
Yeah, I Got You, Babe opens the movie, and it must play in the movie like at least 5 different times, maybe 10 different times. You hear I Got You, Babe. Rodents, groundhogs are actually, in fact, rodents, and repeats. What do you got?
Yeah, good one. I heard a story the other day, Dean, from Bill Murray. I don't know if you saw this on the Bill Murray was doing an interview on the thing the other day, and he was telling a story. He was telling a story from the golf movie, the really good one he did, Caddyshack.
Okay.
Speaking of groundhog and Bill Murray and all that other stuff, he was telling a story that he was on the set and they were doing the scene with, I don't know if it's a beaver or a groundhog, whatever's digging those things.
I think it's a groundhog.
Yeah, it is a groundhog. That's what I thought. I thought it was a beaver, but it is a groundhog because he was telling it. He was saying for like 2 days in a row, he got bit by the groundhog that was doing the thing, like the real groundhog. He was getting bit by the groundhog, man, like real.
The chat corrected us. It's a
gopher. But I don't know if he said gopher or groundhog in his interview. Maybe he was thinking groundhog. He said he got bit, and they got those big old teeth, man. And he's like, finally, he was like, look for the trainers, and he's like, what the hell's going on here? You didn't train this animal very well. Like, this thing's biting me, man. And he was pissed, and they were like, oh yeah, well, I mean, we just found it like 3 days ago over yonder, man. He didn't really get trained or anything, so I thought it was a funny story. You got to watch that one.
Nowadays, they have like movie trainers. They have animal trainers on set. In the movies. I guess that I don't know if that was not a requirement back in the day. They didn't negotiate that. The SGA or whoever would negotiate that. But that is interesting. Murray seems like a character. He seems like an interesting dude. Big sports fan. Big Cubs guy. All right.
Loves UConn. He's a UConn guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
He owns the minor league baseball team, I think, in Charleston, I want to say. I think he owns the Charleston baseball team. Okay. Last game on our slate is Cleveland and Denver. 239.5 is the total. It's high and it's tight. It's beautiful. Denver is a half a point dog here. Basically a coin toss. 240 is the total. We don't know about Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is officially questionable as well. So that is of note. We now have the salary. We have the ability. We have enough value plays. If we want Joker, we can get Joker. Not that hard to get Joker. And then, if I can get Joker, I'll take Joker. I'm happy to get Joker whenever I can get it. Officially, who's in and who's out for this one? Well, Christian Brown is questionable. No, he's probable. Gordon's still out. Joker's, he's good to go. He's probable on the injury report with his ankle. Jamal Murray, he's got that hip who's questionable. Peyton Watson out for a bit with his hammy. Some questionable pieces on Cleveland. Dean Wade, he's got an ankle. He's questionable. Jalen Tyson's questionable with his ankle. We haven't seen Max Strus all season. Proctor is questionable. Mobley, of course, he's still out with his calf. How are you seeing Cleveland and Denver? Just an awesome environment.
Yeah, the best real life game on the slate by a wide margin. Pretty good game. Pretty darn good game. There's some fantasy pieces. I mean, so this is the best game and might be the most competitive game. So when you start talking about that compared to the other stuff that we've talked about, which is bad, this is the type of game you want to get your stars from. So Jokic, obviously, big time. You got to go over the field on Jokic, I think, because like you said, you can afford him now. I think there's just very little chance that this is such a blowout that he doesn't get his full run. Who knows? It's the late night hammer. We might not even know about Murray. You might get the added benefit of no Jamal Murray, and now other people can't make that switch because he's so expensive, and you kind of got to have that planned out ahead of time. So I like being well over on Jokic. I think he's awesome. And on the Cleveland side, Donovan Mitchell, he's good. He's the guy in this game for me for the Cleveland side. He pretty much he has a pretty good beat on attacking Jamal Murray in this defense, and so I think he's going to be the guy I want to play over there. James Harden, the addition to James Harden is only going to help him in the long run. I know they didn't look great their first game together there, but they're going to get it together a lot more moving forward. And also, this might not be the matchup, but as we move forward with James Harden getting more minutes and getting acquainted with his teammates, I'm going to be playing a lot more Jared Allen moving forward because that's what big guys thrive with James Harden and on the lobs and pick and rolls and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know if it's tonight, though, against Jokic, but maybe it is. So I do like Jared Allen. But, yeah, Mitchell as a star. Love the Mitchell-Jokic run back. I think you've got the room now, salary-wise, to make it happen because there's so many bad teams and so many bad players with low salaries that are going to get run tonight.
So I ran some optimal stuff, and you're not going to believe it. The guy that's hitting the majority of my lineups is Devin Carter more than anybody else on DK, just because of the minutes he's projected for and how cheap he is. Khalil Ware, with the absence of Powell, Ware is really jumping. How many minutes are we giving him? Got to be it's still just 24. But, now they have two key pieces out. Larson and Ware are out for Miami, and the matchup against Utah and the opportunity to even play some blowout. I think he would stick around and play some blowout stuff, assuming he's not starting, which he might start. I guess there's a chance he starts. But I think we're projecting him not to start. Let me just confirm that. Mitchell, Gardner, Fontecchio, Wiggins, and Bam Adebayo. That's currently our projection there. You mentioned Mitchell for Cleveland Mitchell. He's not going to be owned because like you said, Harden jumping in there, losing some usage, using some a little bit of fantasy points there, and the price is not fully adjusted. You're going to get him basically at minimal ownership. Love Joker tonight. Question before we bring in crunch time. Julian Strawther is the guy that would really benefit according to our projections if Murray's out. We're projecting him for 32 minutes. And I think he's projecting fine as is, right? 28 minutes right now, like on the fringe of in the pool. That's not by no means a priority, but would you leave the light on? Or if and you could change, how much do you like Strawther? We're giving him 32. This is if Murray's out. I have no idea if Murray's going to play. If Murray's out, 28 is a median score for Strawther on both FanDuel and DK. Is he somebody you're into?
As of Murray being in, not really. I'm probably feeling under the field on him. But yeah, if Murray goes out, then yeah, he definitely becomes a guy I'm on par with the field, if not a little bit better. But yeah, that's the beauty of having a couple extra spots for this night game. I really like it.
K-Town's Finest in the chat says, did I miss the Plums play of the day? You did not. We're actually going to do it right now, Chop. Give me who you're feeling. Who you feeling the Plums?
Well, my plums are juicy, Dean. I'm not going to lie to you. Guys,
they're on fire.
Plum. But this plum was pre-Norman Powell news, so I was getting better ownership on it. But my feeling of the Plums play of the night is Jaime Jaquez Jr. I loved everything about it, the ability to do it in a close game and then get some run at the end. If it's a blowout, he's that kind of guy too. He's going to get a lot more ownership with Norman Powell, but he's also going to get even more usage with Norman out. So I'm good with Jaquez sticking with that as Plum's play there. I really like him at 6,800.
Myron Gardner also hitting some stuff as well. One of the Miami guys that are going to benefit the absence of Powell as well. But I would just say I'm going to force at least one Heat player in every single lineup. It probably would just happen organically, but feel pretty good about Miami and their 121 total, several pieces out. They're down to 11, I believe. What's going on in the chat here? You're having fun. I see you laughing, bouncing back and forth with Noto. Noto's in the chat. He's going to be on the show here in just a second. Let's do it. Let's seamlessly segue. It's crunch time. It's Roth. It's Tim. It's Noto. It's crunch time right now. Kevin Roth, happy Monday. How are things? Everything all right?
Things are good. I'm a little hungover, bowl vibes, but we got the hair of the dog. We're getting after it. And I won squares. I won.
What?
Yeah, I won the halftime squares. I think I won $200.
Skill game.
Yeah, I knew it. I saw the numbers 9 and 0, and I was like, yeah, those are winners right there, baby.
Zeros are good. You like zeros?
Yeah.
You like threes? You like sevens? Nines?
It got there. It got there.
I feel like with all the gambling now, with DraftKings and FanDuel and Kalshi and DFS, I feel like squares are kind of going away. But I guess they're still a thing. Are squares still a thing for everybody? That's today's poll question. Are squares still a thing? Do you still participate in the squares?
It's just such a fun game because it requires no skill. So if you're with a bunch of people who don't sports bet, it's the perfect thing to get all the newbies involved. It's great for work stuff too.
That's a good point. Yeah, everybody can participate, and nobody has an edge. Noto, Tim, welcome. How are things? Everybody good?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I played a few different squares, and I got swept. I didn't get any of my money back. I lost all my square money.
No skill.
No skill.
Yeah. It's a skill issue. You gotta be better, man.
Noto, do you have a square anecdote for us?
I did join the Better Collective Squares, but I didn't even check back in to see what numbers I had. So I was just hoping there was some money in my account today, and there wasn't. But the game went exactly how we all thought it would. So hopefully everybody made some money out there.
It really did.
Some of us aren't on the show that thought it would go a different way, but we're not going to name names.
I haven't heard anything from Bobby. It's weird. It's like Bobby's all of a sudden gone completely silent from the group chat. I don't know where Bobby went.
You were saying, Roth, you were hoping. Be honest, Roth. You were hoping. You liked him just fine. You liked Noto just fine. You were kind of hoping you'd have a different co-host today, possibly.
Yeah. Oh man, I would have loved. I would have loved to give it right back to him. It was just such an obvious outcome. Like the only bet that I made was that the Seahawks would win by 17 or more, and I lost the bet. But damn, was I on it? Like it was destined.
Also, the flag burned you. Walker had a touchdown. They were gonna go over 17, right? With Walker scored that touchdown.
Yeah, they screwed me.
Yeah.
But oh well.
I do want to shout out D-Rock, who won today's Movie Monday, and once again, D-Rock is awesome in this game. Gifted it, paid it forward, gave it to Flores Mark. So shout out to D-Rock, giving away a week free of RG Premium. Good guy in D-Rock. All right, we got to step aside and make way for crunch time. That was Chop. I was Dean. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. Do not go anywhere. Hey, there's Bobby. Bobby popping up. What's up, Bobby? It's going to be okay. You got 6 championships. That's good enough. Roth, it's all yours. Take it away. Crunch time.
Good stuff as always. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. It is indeed crunch time. Two of my besties in the chat hanging with us. We got Noto on the show. Noto, I'm looking at the squares to see. I'm trying to find where you ended up. Here you go. You had New England 3 and Seahawks 0. So you had.
Jeez.
Did that do anything? 3-0? New England 3?
I mean, I didn't get any email or anything, so I don't think so.
I didn't get an email either, and I'm damn sure that I won halftime. So somebody let us know.
And he went with Hideki in the one and done golf. So congrats to him. He didn't win, but we kind of choked there at the end. But he finished second, so that's a good pick there.
Excellent work. I got TastefulTides in the house as well. Tim, what's up, man?
Yeah, not much. Good to see you guys. I mean, it was an awful game last night. I mean, that was a pretty horrible game. Like I did win my bet, and I took down a couple props, but it was not entertaining at all. It was pretty ugly.
Yeah, I had to watch it at a place where no one cared about the game either, and there were all these children, and there was a baby grand piano in the room, and the kids were just going ta 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 ta. I was like, oh, shoot me in the face. But I survived, and obviously I drank way too much, and now here we are. Moving on. No more football to talk about, so we're talking about basketball. Tides, give me kind of a rundown on this slate.
Yeah, so we got 7 games on both the sites. We're still waiting on some pretty very impactful injury stuff. So we may or may not get that during the show because some of that stuff is a little bit later on. So we might not get that, while crunch time is going on. So keep that in mind when you're building teams. There might be some late swap stuff. We're still waiting on Jamal Murray. That's super important. We're still waiting on Jalen Johnson. And so those 2 guys are super important. We already have got the Miami stuff that we were kind of waiting on. We got that in the last show. So that's in there. That projection update is in there for Miami. But like I said, this Jamal Murray stuff is really important. Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson for Atlanta is very impactful as well. I don't know if we've gotten the Wendell Carter news. I mean, that's not as big as the other guys that I mentioned, obviously, but I think that might matter a little bit. So, so there are some injuries to be waiting on. So just, when you're building lineups today, tonight, keep in mind that you might want to leave some spots open. You might not want to jam in guys early if we haven't gotten that news. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, let's dive into it. We have 37 minutes until we hit lock, and that should be just enough time to talk DK, FanDuel, and of course answer your questions as well. Somebody pointed out we got a whole bunch of people watching and not a whole bunch of thumbs ups, and that seems wrong. We do appreciate it when you just hit the like button for us. It really, really helps us out so that we can distribute this to the masses. So let's do it. Noto, let's dive into it at point guard on DraftKings. Who you playing?
Yeah, so I really like the Utah-Miami game. I think everyone's going to like that game. Both teams are top 2 in pace, so we should see a bunch of possessions for both teams. Love Collier tonight. I mean, he played 48 minutes in back-to-back games. He didn't last game, but he still finished with 41 against the Magic. And Keontae's still out. We have him projected for 38 minutes in a pace-up spot. So love him tonight. Love Colin Sexton. He played 28 minutes in his first game with the Bulls. They're without Giddey. They're without Trey Jones. They just ruled out Jalen Smith as well. So we have him projected for 29 minutes. He's averaged over a fantasy point per minute this season. So I have those 2 tagged right now as core plays, but some other interesting options as well. You got Trey Murphy against the Kings in a good matchup at home. Davion Mitchell against the Jazz at home. I always like, anyone facing the Jazz. You have Traore on the Nets. They're missing a bunch of guys. They got a good matchup at home against the Bulls. We talked up Kevin Porter Jr. the last time I was on the show. He's been playing really well. So I don't mind looking at him in the large field stuff. And then we have Devin Carter projected, really well, coming off of 3 straight good games. Good matchup against the Pelicans. Kings are missing some guys. I don't know a ton about him, but I do like the price point quite a bit.
Who is this that you're talking about?
Devin Carter.
Oh, Carter. Oh, I think you said Gardner, which is another dude who I had in a lineup, but not at this position. So we will get there in a bit. All right. Tim, your thoughts at point?
Yeah, Devin Carter is a really important part of the slate. We just got Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels out. So that's pretty important. So we just
let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be pretty popular. We had an if then in RG Premium for this scenario, and we'd be giving Alexander Walker 34 minutes and around 40 DraftKings points. So that's going to be pretty important on this slate. So yeah, he's 7K. He's shooting guard only. That would increase his projection by about 6 or 7 points. So I think that he's probably going to be popping in optimals. So he's going to be somebody that we're probably going to be getting to. I don't know if Okongwu, some of these other Hawks, I don't think are super important as Alexander Walker, but he's going to be somebody that's definitely important on this slate now.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. We kind of interrupted you there with that news.
Yeah. That doesn't really change point guard that much. Devin Carter is still going to be an important part of this slate. That this whole Kings rotation is going to be really important to this slate. It's kind of a difficult one to kind of project, but I think that Devin Carter, I think you should be playing him at either point guard or shooting guard tonight. One of your guard spots, because he's just too cheap, and I think he's gonna smash that price point. Isaiah Collier, he's gonna be playing huge minutes again. I would assume we have him projected for 38. Even if that's like a little high and he ends up only playing, let's say like 34, 35, I still think at 7,300 against the Heat is a really, really great play. Colin Sexton, should play around 30 minutes against the Nets. 4,600, I absolutely love here. So we have these really strong points per dollar plays that I expect will be popular. I think that like Trey Murphy is an interesting pivot off of Collier if you want to spend the extra $900. I really do like that. And I think Noto just mentioned KPJ. I was on the show with Noto, I think it was on Friday, and we talked about him, and he absolutely smashed. I love going back to him once again. He's going to be pretty low owned tonight. So I think that pretty much breaks down the point guard stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to shooting guard.
Yeah. So we're going to be getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker here. I talked to him about him just because we lost Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, so Na is a really good play. KBJ is a really good play. I think Anthony Edwards was somebody that I was getting to a ton in optimals before the show. Now I'm not so sure, because that's probably going to be Na now. But if you still want to pay up for Anthony Edwards, I think that's okay. I imagine he's not going to be very popular at all. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be a really very, very contrarian play today. We're going to be playing a lot of Jokic, and we could run it back with Donovan Mitchell at next to no ownership. So those are your spend up options at the position. I talked about Devin Carter, Myron Gardner, I think we're projecting him to start for the Heat tonight. He's an interesting play. We do have him projected to start. So yeah, I mean he's an interesting play. He's very, very cheap. Dean was talking about on the last show, do we want to be, saving this spot for Strother? I think that's kind of an interesting decision on this slate. Like, we don't get that news, because Strother is actually going to project a little bit better. So it's kind of a tricky situation between those two. And then we also have Daquan Plowden, another one of these kind of like really, really cheap shooting guard small forwards. So if Gardner starts, he's probably the safest, and you can lock him in early. But I think there might be some strategy to kind of leaving a couple spots open, and maybe you don't want to lock in Gardner right now.
Did you mention Sexton? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned him at point guard. You can absolutely play him at shooting guard as well. I mean, you definitely can play him.
Yeah.
At shooting guard.
Very good. Noto, your thoughts at shooting guard? Seems like there's kind of a lot of dudes here that we want, and a really good spot to save some salary.
Yeah, a lot of dudes. Before we get there, Joseph in the chat's onto us. He said, one of us is touting Sexton. The show before wasn't. And so we get together before the show. We all say, hey, I'll tout this guy. I won't tout this guy. That way one of us is always right.
We make sure we just have every single player covered, and then we're good.
Yeah, and then we can always say
tout 101. Been doing it for decades. Yeah,
hate that he's onto us, but it's okay. But yeah, a lot of good value. Tim talked about them. Carter, Sexton, Gardner, Plowden. I mean, all of them great options. All of them below 5K. If you want to get a little bit different, Clifford on the Kings is interesting too. He's coming off of a really big game. Put up 50 against the Cavaliers the other night. Then we have Alexander Walker without Dyson Daniels. I think that's a little bit interesting. Do we think McCollum's going to start with Daniels out? Tim?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Let's see. That's who we have. We have McCollum projected to start. Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like Jalen Johnson's out too now.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels are both out.
I was thinking
that's what I'm assuming. We'll be getting not a lot of optimals. But yeah, we do have McCollum projected to start now.
So he could be interesting. Knock could be interesting. I mean, man, the guard position is going to be really tough on tonight's slate.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to mention before we head to small forward?
I think that's it, but I'll definitely be using a lot of guards in my utility spots tonight.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, small forward.
Yeah, so you got some of the same names here that we talked about, the values. You have Myron Gardner, Plowden, Clifford, all projecting as really strong plays. You have Chop's Plum's play and Jaime Jaquez. Really interesting to me. I mean, he hasn't been great recently, but no Norman Powell, no Larson. Great matchup against the Jazz. So I like spending up on him. I keep fading Sadiq Bey. I just can't bring myself to play him. I don't know what it is, but he just keeps crushing. So I don't know. Eventually, I got to start playing this guy. He's had 46 plus in 5 of his last 8 games. And then we talked about Strother if Jamal Murray ends up being out. So if you want to leave a spot open for him, I don't mind that. But yeah, the only good spend up option that I really like is Jaquez.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, your thoughts on small forward?
Yeah, so you can definitely get to Jaime Jaquez here. I do like that Sadiq Bey call quite a bit. The position is not good in terms of spend ups, really, in my opinion. I think that really you kind of want to be living in this value range, whether you want to take up that early spot with Myron Gardner, if you want to wait and see if Strother is going to be, his usage will increase if Murray does end up sitting. So that's an important piece of news there. Yeah, I mean, and then we talked about Plowden. I think that you can play Risache also, especially now that we've got some of those Atlanta pieces out. So he's another one of these value small forwards that, there's just a lot of different options down there. So I don't really see myself spending up here. I think it's one of these cheap guys.
Yeah. Okay. Power forward.
Yeah. So power forward, it's probably one of these cheaper guys. Like you can pay up for Julius Randle. I think you could pay up for Zion. I don't love that, but I think that might be kind of a contrarian way to build. So they do have those options. Dylan Cardwell is a name that we haven't mentioned yet. He's part of this Kings team that is just, they're awful, but they have to play, and they're pretty cheap. So Dylan Cardwell is definitely a strong option tonight. Danny Wolf, I see Noto had him core play in lineup HQ. I really like that. 4,900. I think if I had to choose between Cardwell and Wolf, personally, I'd go Cardwell, but it's kind of close between the two. And then you got Noah Clowney at 4,800. I think he's a really interesting GPP play. So really, I mean, it's just more of this value. Really, really strong value here at the power forward position.
Yeah. Okay. That Cardwell play kind of saved my whole build. So love to hear that. Hopefully it works out. Noto, your thoughts there at power forward?
Yeah. So we've had great values at every single position, which means I'm playing Jokic. We'll get there in a sec. But yeah, I mean, you got to spend up somewhere. And in order to get all these good values, you kind of got to spend a lot of salary somewhere. So I like him. We talked about Cardwell, Wolf. I have him tagged right now, but I'm probably going to untag him now that there's all these injuries. I'll probably add another tag or two while we're on the show. Hawkheads is here. Yabusele is kind of interesting. We have him projected for 29 minutes against the Nets. He's a guy that when he's given minutes, he can put up some numbers. And Brooklyn, one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, which I like. Zion under 8K is a little bit interesting against Sacramento. We talked about Sadiq Bey. There's just not a lot of great spend up options at any position really, except for center.
Yeah, well, let's go to it. Of course, a whole lot of Jokic. You mentioned, and I saw someone in the chat say, I've got all this salary. Where do I spend it? It's going to be like, I don't know, 50% own Jokic just because we all have the money. Is that what's going to happen here, Noto?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were going to play Jalen Johnson. And now that only opens up more value and it opens up or takes away one of the more, interesting spend up options. So I do think a ton of people are going to play Jokic. We have him at 43%. Oh, sorry about that. Right now, the minutes, no longer on a minutes limit. He's played 33 and 44 the last two games, put up 79 and 68. I like the matchup against Cleveland. We also can get some built-in equity if Jamal Murray ends up being out, which is a plus. So I'm going to play Jokic in my main lineup for sure. Other guys, you have Cardwell, Wolf, Khalil Ware is here. His minutes are all over the board, but if he can get like 25 against the Jazz, he should absolutely smash. Yabusele's here. If you want to play Okongwu now that Jalen Johnson's out, I don't mind that, although it's a tough matchup against Minnesota's front court. And then I'm probably going to be off of Jared Allen. He had that one big game, but, man, I don't like playing centers against Jokic much.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, your thoughts at center?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Noah said, we have all this amazing value tonight and Jokic who might be without Jamal Murray. So, I mean, if they're going to be without Murray, it's definitely going to be impossible to fade Jokic tonight. Like if you're playing single entry, I think you just got to jam him in. We haven't projected for 43%. I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up being like closer to 55, 60. And if you're playing single entry, he might be pushing like 65, 70.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play him. If you want to get, a little bit different. I think Bam is super interesting tonight. I think that he's going to have an interesting, like large field GPP play. But again, not somebody that I'd be playing in single entry stuff. Khalil Ware, he's going to be popping in a ton of optimals. He's 4,800. He's way too cheap for that matchup. You can play Cardwell at center. You can play Danny Wolf at center. But again, you're starting off with Jokic. You're only adding those other guys as your second center if you want. But and you can also play Maxime Reynaud too. I think at 4,700. I think he'd be interesting. But yeah. I mean, I think you're really just gonna play Jokic, and then if you want to play second center, you just pay down.
Quick question. Mark in the chat says it's way too easy to fit Cade and Joker. And I feel like with all the value and all of the really good plays at point, maybe Cade is going to come in really under-owned compared to what his upside is. What is his ownership? And would you play him, or are you playing some of the guys that are cheaper and or in injury spots?
Yeah, I think Cade is completely fine. It's going to be. We have him around 12%. I don't mind that. I was kind of thinking about going with Trey Murphy. That was going to be kind of like my contrarian point guard play, and Trey Murphy's going to be around 15%. But if people want to play Cade, that's completely fine. I'm certainly not going to say no. And he's not going to be popular.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I want to kick over to FanDuel. I should have had my read up, but I didn't. So let's just go over to FanDuel. In fact, you know what? I know what the read's all about. I bet it's Picklabs. The newest RotoGrinders feature lets you scan for the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. It's all right there in the app. Nice board, shows you what stands out across multiple sports books and other sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. When you see something you like, it builds it right in the slip, sends it straight to the book of your choice. You can find Picklabs at rotogrinders.com/Picklabs. Go ahead, make some picks, do it. It's great. It's wonderful. Check it out. All right, let's jump over to FanDuel. And Tim, you can start us off there.
Yeah, so I think we can start right off with Isaiah Collier at 8,200. Again, I talked about him on DK. He should be playing huge minutes here in a really good matchup. So definitely somebody that we're going to be getting exposure to. The value guys, Colin Sexton, he's point guard, shooting guard, 4,700. Devin Carter, 4,600. CJ McCollum, Noto brought him up, 5,600 on FanDuel. I think is a really good price. Mm-hmm. So definitely can get to him. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 7,200. I think he's a strong mid-range play over on FanDuel. Nolan Traore, 4,200. I prefer playing Sexton and Carter, but Traore I think is strong if you need somebody, if you just need a pivot, because I don't think he'll be as popular as Carter or Sexton. So Traore I think would be a pretty strong value play.
Okay, great. Noto, your thoughts at point?
Yeah, I agree with Tim on the dudes. I like Sexton. I like Collier. I like Traore. Alexander Walker. Man, I'm tempted to fade the Hawks just because I'm hoping that game can turn into a blowout. But the last time they sat everybody, it was against the Thunder in Oklahoma City, and they ended up just going nuts and almost won the game. So not sure if that's what I want to do. But, yeah, McCollum's really cheap over here. Alexander Walker, revenge game, and going to see increased usage. And then we have Devin Carter, a little bit more expensive on FanDuel. But yeah, I kind of do like the Cunningham Jokic builds or Edwards Jokic builds. They're certainly interesting because it allows you to get even an extra value guy in there.
Yeah. Okay. Shooting guard.
A lot of the same names we've been talking about. Alexander Walker and McCollum are leading the way in terms of RG values. I still like Sexton quite a bit. Just a good matchup against Brooklyn. I think he'll play around, 28 to 30 minutes. You have Clifford here. You can spend up on Murphy if you want to be a little bit different. And I don't think I'm going anywhere else besides those top five guys.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah, so I really like Trey Murphy. I talked about him on DK. I think 8,100 for him on FanDuel. He should play pretty big minutes here, minutes in the mid to upper 30s. I really do like him a ton. If you want to pay up and get different, it's Donovan Mitchell, I think, over Edwards, but it's pretty close between those two. But I think I'd go Mitchell over him. Kevin Porter Jr., again, 8,900, going to be super low owned on FanDuel. I don't mind him here in large field stuff. Probably can't play him in single entry just because of that price, but I think I think he can beat that price, and nobody will play him. And then we've got the cheap chalky value that we've talked about: Sexton, McCollum, Clifford enters the pool. Yeah, and I think that's it. Maybe we play a little Jaden Ivey. I think that might be somehow maybe get a little different off of that Colin Sexton chalk. Maybe we get to a little Ivy here in large field stuff.
Okay, very good. Small forward.
Yeah, so we have pretty strong value. We have Plowden, we have Myron Gardner, Reese at 4,100. I think is completely fine. Nick Clifford 5,100. Again, I think Trey Murphy is the spend up guy. And then Hami Hawkes at 6,400. I guess he's okay. And Sadiq Bey at 7K. I think he's going to be around 7% owned. I do like him in large field stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Noto, small forward.
Yeah, Butho Jenkins in chat pointing out it's a birthday narrative for Clifford. So, we already liked him. Give him a few extra fantasy points for that.
We love the birthday narrative.
We do. Any narrative, really.
Right. Yeah.
I can get behind. But yeah, Wolf, Plowden, and Gardner, just such great values. Have a hard time not playing them. Do like Hawkes quite a bit. Clifford's here too. Talked about Trey Murphy. Just don't think we need anyone else. But yeah, Tim did bring up Sadiq Bey. If you want to play him, FanDuel's a great spot for it because he's just not going to get any ownership now that we have all this value.
Yeah. Okay, power forward, Noto.
Yeah, so we have Khalil Ware at the very top. That worries me a little bit at 5,500. If you look at his game log, it's just all over the place. He's had like one breakout game in the last couple months, or few weeks. So I would rather play him on DraftKings than FanDuel, but he does get a lot of blocks and steals. I like Danny Wolf over here. Yabusele is interesting. I like Jaquez, who I mentioned. The chat was talking about Bama Adebayo. I think he's a great spend-up option, too, against the Jazz. I don't think a lot of people are going to play him on DraftKings, and he's even cheaper over on FanDuel. So he's one of my favorite contrarian spends. You can play Zion or Julius Randle here. And then that's it for me at power forward.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, your thoughts at the 4?
Yeah, so definitely can play Bam at 8,300, Zion at 78. I think Julius Randle is completely fine if you have the salary. I think Randle is actually going to be possibly more owned than Bam. So if that's the case, I think I'd rather play Bam, just because I want to play against Utah. Wendell Carter is in, so nothing to worry about with that game. Danny Wolf, Risa Shea, Khalil Ware, I think are your cheap guys. Khalil Ware is probably your cash game guy today. 5,500 seems a little bit too cheap. And then I think if you have the money and you want to add another Heat, Hami Jaquez is an interesting play as well.
Okay, center spot. Actually, sorry, Noto at power forward. My bad.
I think I talked about him already.
Oh, then I don't know where the hell I am. Somebody talk to me about center.
Yeah, I can talk center. Yeah, I mean it's still just Jokic. I mean it's he's clearly the play. Even at 12-6. I just think that there's such good value plays on this slate that I think that like I ran 150 lineups like just now, and I'm just getting to so much Jokic, and I think that's the right play. There's so much value. It's so easy to play. So I think even over on FanDuel, he's the best play.
And Tim, is he projected as Murray in right now?
Yes.
Yeah. And so if Murray's out,
that's important. He's an even better play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have him projected in right now. So, yeah. I mean, he would get, I think, like we have him projected for like 60 fantasy points right now, and I think that would go up to like 65, which is pretty significant. Yeah. So,
but really, it's irrelevant in the fact that we have all the money in the world and we're going to spend up probably anyways. Any other thoughts outside of Jokic, really?
I mean, Dylan Cardwell is center only on FanDuel, where he does have that power forward eligibility on DK. He would be the only other guy I would consider just to have a different type of lineup construction. But I think I'm not doing that in single entry. Like I think that you'd only be doing that if you're building out a few teams in large field stuff.
Yeah. Noto, you just playing Jokic and calling it a day, or you got anybody else plugged in?
Yeah, I'm just playing Jokic. It's just he's in a great spot, and he opens up the ability to play all the value guys that we like.
Is that? That's a backwards way of looking at it, but I like it. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got about 10 minutes until lock. Let's dive into it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Noto, I will start with you from D-Rock, DKGPP, Allen, or Okongwu if I already have Null.
Yeah, I'm not on Allen tonight, so I'm going to go Okongwu. I mean, if they're going to keep this game close, they're probably going to need a big game from Na and Okongwu, so I would go that route.
Okay, good stuff. Tim? Jim says, thoughts on KPJ and Clifford for 3 max lineup, DraftKings GPPs? Thank you.
I'm all about it. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, okay. Another one for you, Tim. This is a DK Cash question. Risa Shea and Plowden or Gardner and Caldwell?
The first one.
Okay. Noto, back to you for a few. Where were we? Actually, this is a Tides specific question. FanDuel GPP Tides, your favorite contrarian play and favorite low owned value.
Low owned value. I will go. I don't think Nick Clifford's going to be that highly owned. That's on FanDuel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Nick Clifford is the value, and then they want a stud.
Yeah, but a contrarian one.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, not Jokic.
Basically not. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I do think that. I think Zion is interesting, or Trey Murphy. Zion's probably lower owned out of those two.
Very good. Noto, I got a few questions for you. Rob G says DKGPP, Traore and Wolf, or Carter and Clifford.
I mean, all four are great. So yeah, I don't have a strong take there. Maybe Tim has a preference, but I think all four are really
It was
strong.
Traore, Wolf, or Carter and Clifford.
I do the Carter one.
Okay. We'll go to Swag with Chris. He says, FanDuelcast Noto, this is a 3v3. Bam, Randall, Wolf, or Murphy, Zion, Ware. Or, oh, Jesus, a 3v3v3. Bam, Randall, Wolf, Murphy,
Okay.
Zion, Ware, or Wolf, Bam, Zion.
Oh, geez. So there's the same guys in 2 of the 3. I like Bam a lot. What are the 2 with Bam?
The 2 with Bam were Bam, Randall, Wolf, or Wolf, Bam, Zion, which means the question is Zion versus Randall.
Yeah, I'm going to go Zion there.
Yeah, all right. That broke my mind. I wasn't ready for that. Noto got another one for you. FanDuel Cash. He says, "Hey, sorry, I joined late. Are we fading Collier in cash now that all the values opened up?" And I actually was curious about that as well. Like, he was the first guy I plugged in, and then I started hearing about all this value, and I was like, am I just playing a guy and everybody else is in a spot?
You can, but there's also great value at small forward, power forward. So I still like him. I'm still using him in my main lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Tim, let's see. Wolf or Yabusele? By the way, if you are asking questions in the YouTube, we will likely get there, but just a ton of questions coming in on the Discord, and we always start there. Tim, DK, GPP, Wolf or Yabu?
I'd go Wolf.
Okay. Out of all the cheap value plays, Tim, who are you most comfortable fading in DK Cash?
Ooh. That's a good question.
Yeah, and you are forced to fade a couple.
Oh, you definitely are.
A lot of them. Yeah.
Myron Gardner makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
I'm not super comfortable with him. I'm not sure if I'm fading him though. I don't know. Maybe it's Dylan Cardwell. It's tough because that Julian Strother situation is really impactful in the slate. Because he would project a lot better, and he might be worth leaving a spot open for. So that's one of the reasons why I might be fading Myron Gardner, is that I might be leaving a spot for Strother.
Yeah. Okay, very good. More questions coming in. Noto, DK, GPP, Plowden versus Wolf, straight up.
I'll go Plowden, but I like both of them.
Okay, another one for you, Noto. DK, single entry, Bay and Mitchell, or Jaquez and Trieri. It's A Mitchell.
A Mitchell?
Yes. Is that right?
Davion Mitchell, maybe?
Davion, I bet.
Yeah, I'm going to go
Davion
for...
is not an A.
Rewrite
the question, Alan. Oh, yeah, he meant Davion. He meant D Mitchell. You really threw us with the random A. You could have just gone Mitchell. We'd have had that. DK single entry, Bay and D Mitchell, or Jaquez and Trieri.
The D Mitchell doesn't help because there's also Donovan. But yeah, I know we're talking about Dave.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm going to go number 2.
Okay, we think. All right. Is Collier okay in a FanDuel GPP, Tim?
Yeah, definitely.
Tim, DK single entry last piece, CJ or Ware?
Yeah, I saw that one. That's tough. I'd still just go with Ware.
Okay. Noto, back to you from Rob, DK, GPP, Risache and Zion, or Jaquez and Clifford?
Hawkeyes and Clifford.
Okay. Jay Sam says, FanDuel single entry. What's up, fellas? Hey, Noto, do you mind playing Bam and Ware together? Is a great question. He says, since the matchup is so good, you can just get all the blocks and all the rebounds. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. The matchup is a little tougher now that they got Jaren Jackson, but I mean, they're still going to be bad defensively.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Scrolling up a little bit in the YouTube. If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet and you are considering, or you're just being too lazy, now's the time. Hit that thumbs up. Tim DK. Oh, this was just in the chat actually. DK Cash. How many Hawks from Champion? Tim, how many Hawks
in DK Cash?
Yep.
I'd still just go with one.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Walker. I mean, you can play McCollum if you want to, but I think I would just play one.
Okay. Tim, Gardner or Reese Shea, FanDuel Cash?
Yeah, it's tough. I guess Reese Shea.
Okay. Noto, a few for you. Any take on the guard value for Brooklyn? So who are we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good plays there. I like Traore the best, but yeah, I like Terrence Mann, who's going to get some minutes. I like their front court too. Wolf and Clowney are both interesting. Now that all the other values kind of opened up, they're probably going to get overlooked a little bit. But Traore is probably my favorite backcourt guy.
Okay, very good. Jim says, hit the like button for these guys. Yes, please do. Sexton or Ivy for you, Noto?
Sexton.
Okay. Raynaud, Tim?
Raynaud, yeah. Yeah, in large field stuff, I think it's okay.
Yeah, okay. Tim, thoughts on Wiggy 6'5" on FanDuel versus Utah and all those Miami injuries?
He would definitely fall behind Hawkes and Ware and Bam. You know, I guess if he's not going to make my 3-max or single entry pool. I'll put it to you that way. If you want to throw him in large field stuff, I don't hate it.
Yeah, okay. Noto, any thoughts on Plowden? This Plowden fella, F. Himes says?
Yeah, I like him. I mean, the Kings just missing so many guys coming off of a pretty good game. If the minutes are there, he should be just fine.
Okay. Noto, back to you with a 2v2 from Darren. Yabusele and Naw or Zion and Traore?
I mean, the projections are going to like number 1 better. I'm probably leaning number 2.
Okay.
For tournaments.
Tim, is Strawther a lock if Murphy is out?
No, he's not a lock, but he projects a little bit better than this, like Myron Gardner, Reese Shea tier. You know, some of these guys that we're locking in early. That's kind of my point. Is that's kind of an importance, but he's not like a lock though. But he does project a little bit better than those other value pieces that we're locking in early.
Interesting. Okay. So you're basically getting the same piece at maybe way lower ownership?
Yeah, you're getting a little bit better projection. You're probably getting a little bit less ownership too. So it's kind of depends on if you want to leave that light on for him, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Last piece, Tim, power forward on FanDuel. Cam Johnson, Reese Shea, or Herbert Jones?
I'd go Reese Shea.
Okay. Noto, we are less than 2 minutes until lock. Crab Şengün, which I think he is like Şengün's little crab dribble and pivot that he does, I think. Says, Dillingham or Sexton? Excuse me. Dillingham as a Sexton pivot, Noto.
I'd probably go Ivy or Simons instead of him, but I just think there's too many good values to get the Dillingham tonight.
Okay. Patrick says Bam, Wolf, or Hawkes Bay, FanDuel single entry. Noto, Bam and Wolf or Hawkes and Bay?
It's really tough. I like all 4 guys. I'm going to go number 1, though. I like Bam.
Very good. We're coming up on lock. Bean says Plowden or Gardner for you in a FanDuel GPP, Tim?
Plowden or who?
I think Gardner.
I think I'd go Plowden.
Okay. This is a lippy question. I have to preface it with that. Is Corey Kispert a bad play?
I think there's so much good value, especially in that small forward wing spots, that I don't like him.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, then we have done all the things that we came here to do. We hit the lock. We gave out some advice and answered some questions. We are going to bounce on out of here for Noto, for Tim, for our wonderful production crew. Always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.